My name. I want to give a simple response to President Zuma's letter to President Ramaphosa. I hope you'll enjoy my perspectives as always, and I always encourage you to subscribe to our channel so that you keep binging on current affairs, provocative views and perspectives. There are very serious questions that we need to ask about the letter. Number one, why the letter? Why didn't President Zuma make a call to President Ramaphosa? Why didn't he send an email? Why didn't he request for a private meeting so that they meet and discuss whatever issues that Mr. Zuma feels that are of concern to him as a member of the ANC and indeed as a leader of the ANC or a former president of the country? He could have very easily made a call. He could have very easily organized a meeting. The two men would have met, discussed their differences. We wouldn't even have known, given the secrecy of the ANC and the secrecy of the ANC government. We wouldn't have known. But the fact that he chose to pen a letter in the way he did is very concerning for me. The letter. There are specific issues Mr. Zuma decided to highlight in his letter, and some of them are of concern. Without the merits or demerits of the letter, as I said, he highlights President Ramaphosa's past business dealings with the state, especially the provincial government. He highlights President Ramaphosa's failure to implement the resolutions of Nasdaq. Okay. He highlights the conduct of an ANC president, and he says sending letters, the way President Ramaphosa then chose to send a letter highlighting the cause of corruption and calling the ANC accused number one and blah blah, for him is an issue. And obviously, he also highlights Mr. Ramaphosa's close relationship with big business establishments and maybe his service to them. Okay, so those are some of the major takeaways for me in the letter. And it's of interest why Mr. Zuma, for example, would highlight the Nasdaq resolutions and how they have or have not been implemented. Why he would highlight dealings with business, and especially Ramaphosa's business with government. Okay? Why he would highlight serving and relationships between President Ramaphosa and big business, or white monopoly capital, as they tend to call them. Those, for me, are very concerning contents and very interesting contents of the letter. Now, let's briefly also talk about President Ramaphosa. President Ramaphosa has got his own reasons why he's inclined to big business. I don't think that you can doubt his allegiance to big business establishments. You cannot doubt that. Maybe it's rooted in the fact that he is a big business owner. Maybe it's rooted in the fact that he's been doing business with them. Maybe it's rooted in the fact that tomorrow after retirement, he's going to be a big business person. As always, we don't know. So before we say, why did Zuma highlight that? We must also talk about whether it's factual or not. Number two, we need to also realize that there are some ANC resolutions that were agreed upon in Nazareth that he has not been supportive of. Okay, things like the Reserve Bank issue. Okay, and. So factually, Mr. Zuma has a point there. Okay, and one or two other things as well. Okay, things like why small businesses, for example, are not his cup of tea, whether in the relief package that he gave to business because of COVID, the biggest beneficiaries were big business, were not small businesses. I know they went ahead and then changed and said, no, the bank now, you can go there without a surety and all that. But in inception, it was a relief for big business. Maybe because of who supported him to go into presidency. We don't know. One would never know. But I think Mr. Zuma has a point there as well. To write the letter now, why didn't he write it last month? Why didn't he write it last year? Why didn't he write it in January? Why didn't he wait for the COVID to end and then he writes the letter? So the timing itself is something that we need to ponder about. Why now? Why is it necessary, Mr. Zuma, to write a letter now in the middle of a pandemic? Why now? Why not yesterday? Why not last month? Why not next month? So it's concerning, and I think we must be critical of the timing of this letter. These two leaders of our country. But what is the point? The point to me is simple. This is a fight over who should control the heart and the soul of the ANC. This is what this all is about. That is why President Zuma points out the conduct of President Ramaphosa. His failure, for example, as Mr. Zuma alleges in his letter, to implement the resolutions of the ANC conference. Okay, that's why Mr. Zuma in his letter points out the conduct of becoming or unbecoming of an ANC president to call the ANC accused number one, as Mr. Ramaphosa did in his letter to the ANC leaders. Okay, that is why Mr. Zuma points out him carrying the cross of the ANC and encouraging President Ramaphosa to also accept and suffer some things and carry the cross of the ANC. Okay, so to me, this is nothing but a fight, a struggle, a difference in ideology over who should control the soul and the heart of the ANC. I can only think of one simple answer. Why they should fight for the control of the soul and heart of the ANC? The simple answer is the one who controls the heart and soul of the ANC, number one, runs the country. And number two, and this is the big one, runs and controls the treasury. So the subtractions and the additions and the bickerings and the segmentations and the factions and all the states and status quo that we see is a fight for who should control the national treasury. This is what it's all about. It's not about fighting apartheid. Apartheid is not here. This is not about the poor, as people say. No, our people. Yes, our people. Yeah, most of it maybe is, but most of it is lip service actually. The issue is whoever controls and runs the ANC Mutule House, that is the person who deploys cadres at National Treasury. That is the person who controls and runs the national purse. So this is what it's all about. The commissions of inquiry, the dockets, the appointments, the deployments, all of these things, to me, it is a fight over who should then have control over the national treasury. So unfortunately, whether President Zuma's letter to President Ramaphosa is a genuine concern over the direction where the country is heading, whether it's a genuine concern over whether Mr. Ramaphosa is too inclined to big business establishments, whether the letter is a genuine concern that the way Mr. Ramaphosa conducts himself is unbecoming of an ANC sitting president. Some of those are subject to question. Much as maybe on one side, President Zuma has concerns, and rightly so. He's a citizen of this country. He's a leader of the ANC. He's a former leader of the country. And so he has issues and concerns over the failure, maybe, as he may point out, of the governance or the government of President Ramaphosa and ANC per se, and the direction that Mr. Ramaphosa is taking it. We must be fair, because many times when politicians do things, the first thing that they will always put out there will be, well, I'm doing this for common good. Well, that's the reason why we elect politicians in the first place, that they will stand for common good and that they will put common good ahead of personal good, that they will stand and live and even serve common good and not personal or sectarian or partisan interests. But when I look at South Africa today, large and by, if you look around, common good is almost dead. This is my observation. Number one, if you look at political parties, without mentioning a lot of them, large and by, every political party is, well, for itself and the Constitution for us all. Okay? When you look at big business is large and by, each business is busy trying to survive COVID, trying to secure their own future. Each sector, whether it's the treasury, whether it's the tourism, whether it's the manufacturing sector, whether it's the retail sector, everybody's in a survival mode. So it is every company for itself or every sector for itself and the client for us all. Look at civil society. We have seen, even over COVID, how civil society tends to pundit certain views and certain ideas that support their own interests. This including even scientists. Okay, we have seen this. We have seen churches, for example, giving views and ideas and advices to the president or to the command council that would then suit their own interests. So even church itself, unfortunately, it is God for us all, but every man for himself. And I think large and by, this is the new mantra of the new South Africa. This is how we should raise our children. This is how we should do business. This is how we should live our lives. Okay? Because if you sit here and you think that, no, we elected them, they are serving our common good, it's very, very difficult to ascertain that. Because when you look around and make a deep, conscious dissection into Mr. Zuma's letter, you are going to find that it's common interest away from personal interest. And if you look at the president, why he's doing what he's doing, why he's inclined to a certain ideology, why he's inclined to a certain philosophy, why he's pushing some policies and not other policies, large and by you may also arrive at the same conclusion that maybe, just maybe, there are certain interests here being served. Okay, so the issue of common good in South Africa is not as alive and well as it is in many societies, or as it is in a lot of politics that we see around the world. The politics here is becoming very sectarian, very partisan, many times tribal. It is racial in its inception from 1994 because of the roots of the history of the country. And so you cannot purely punit the idea of common good. Dear ANC leaders, it is time to put South Africa first. Not big business, not even the ANC, because many times we get confused whether the ANC comes first or this country comes first. There is always South Africa after the ANC, because you were here. People thought that there will be no South Africa after some white, big established political parties. But while their history, this country is still here. So don't be surprised to find that a few years down the line there will be South Africa with or without the ANC. So let's put South Africa first. Let's stop the fight for national treasure. Let's stop the fight over who sends which cadre at which post at the national treasure. The money large and bad. What I'm saying, you are going to realize that a lot of South Africans are surprised. They are moved by the fight over the soul of the ANC at this time. Why at this time? Why the fight the way it is now? Okay, so let's put South Africa first. Let's not put our interests first. Let's not put big business first. Let's put South Africa first. Well, thank you for once again visiting our channel. I urge you to subscribe so that you get more provocative current affairs views and opinions from our channel. I'll see you